Shay Cartier Limited Convos, and today I'm just going to touch on a little thing about mindset. So, I'd say my mindset has changed drastically in the last 8 years. Um, in 8 years ago, I was single. I was living in a shared home. I was unemployed. I had no other I could say I had some vapes at the moment at the time in shops, but it wasn't really a business at that time. It was just a trial run. So I can say yeah, I had something legally going on, but nothing that was actually even thought about as promoted or as a main business at that time. So yeah, change now. 8 years later, I am now a partner. I am now a father. I am now a owner of a business. I am now not living in my actual local area, Birmingham, which is where I'm from, and my life has kind of changed drastically, even to the point of me sitting here now in front of you on the camera now. So, what actually made me change, really, and it all goes down to my mindset. So, when I say my mindset was when I was released from prison, like I think it was about yeah 8 years ago. It was 8 years, eight and a half years ago. I was released from prison. So yeah, when I was actually last released from prison, I had a mindset of I don't want to return to prison, and I want to kind of be settled down in life and kind of just live in the countryside and keep myself to myself and enjoy life, travel more, get to see more of the world, and enjoy things that I haven't actually had time to enjoy because my time was taken away from me. So my mind when I got out was to actually set out for these plans. When I talked about yesterday having opportunities for yourself, this is where you realise you have to make your own opportunities in life. Because although I had just been released from prison, although I had a variety of qualifications, although I had to be put into a shared home by them themselves, I could see that there was no actual help. So when I was actually released from prison, I actually had to stay at a friend's for like the first week, I think it was, before I was able to actually get a place. Um, this was due to me actually coming out and actually being put onto probation. Um, for someone that has just been let out of prison, regardless of their offences, to be just let out of prison and have not a home address that they are putting you to is quite just already a bad start, let's just say. So a lot of people may falter just from that alone. Um, Onto that, you have to find your own place and move on from there. If I fast forward then, a big gap, but enough to make 3 years I was in like one, two, three different shared houses in 3 years. The third one, I actually had to get kicked out. And at that time, because my mindset was still to kind of keep progressing, so actually in this time I'd started the little vapes thing. Um, I'd tried to well, I actually had started a small eBay shop at this time as well, where I was selling like a few DVDs. I had a few action figures I had, and just random things I'd laying around my house. It was bringing in a little extra cash at the time, which was very helpful for me at that time. So yeah, I was doing that, and then I got told I had to move out of this next shared house. My mindset then changed. I think that's when my kind of mindset kicked in from what I said 3 years ago of making a better life for myself and hopefully for my family. So then I actually, at this moment in time, I was talking to my partner now of 5 years, and I had a few decisions to make. I had a decision where I could have someone that would rent a place for me. I had a decision to move into another apartment block with someone who already, not in the same apartment, but in the same building. I had the option of actually going to London when I'm from Birmingham and moving in with someone that wasn't my partner at the time, but we had told each other that we obviously loved each other and cared for each other. So there was feelings vice versa. Um, my mindset had to make up a choice of what to do. So my decision in the end was actually to move to London. When I moved to London, I think that's when my mindset completely changed. And I say there's different stages to the mindset. It's like you need that, it's like a business. You always need an idea first. With the idea, you need some kind of start, you need some kind of promotions, you need some way of getting some kind of customers or your service being purchased. Then you need to build your brand, and then you need to expand. So each part of your mindset is like a business. It takes stages for you to understand where you want to be. So in my first year of being released, I didn't start a business. I wasn't thinking about a business. Like in the mindset of I've got my money, I'm going to put into a business. I was just considering and playing with the ideas of businesses. In the second year, second to third year, the vape started. Then I started having to move to London because of the address and having to move out of the shared house. When I moved in with my partner now for 5 years, my mindset was then I'm in London. I actually had no kind of start again, I'd say, because although I actually was still on probation at this time, my probation was still in Birmingham at that time, so there was no actual correlation between each other, which at the time I thought was quite good because I felt it kept me able to do what I wanted to do and able to do what I needed to do to kind of make what you see now in front of yourselves, um, me, website, and trying to relay a little story of how I've come up or tried to come up, let's say. So yeah, the mindset changed then because I then thought about what I could do with myself and my money and where I was, and I decided to take the advantage of the local auction houses in London because I was in London and I presumed a lot of things were in London compared to Birmingham where there's not a lot of auction houses, if any. So yeah, it just seemed a lot more available for me. In all these times now, like I've started my business, my mindset has had to get even stronger and be more forceful with my mindset because I have seen the amount of challenges I have had. So, although I would say, where I said yesterday, giving the young kids an opportunity or giving everybody an actual opportunity that actually stops violence and stops a lot of things, I can see that a lot of people may have tried to push the mindset of what I was talking about yesterday with being publicly spoken about in a negative way compared to being publicly spoken about in a positive way. So I could see a lot of I'd say I'd say a lot of the times it was elder people compared to me because I am only 36 now. At the time when I started, I was 32, 34, 33. So I was quite young to some of the 40s, 50s, but a lot of them weren't aware that actually my partner was 44 at that time. She's now 47. You know, you know what I mean? So it's a big age gap. You know what I mean? So obviously, my mindset to be with an older woman has to already be there. I'd say for us to settle with a family and kind of take myself away from my previous lifestyle. So I'd say my mindset was kind of challenged. I'd say to the point of the opportunities that were there for everyday people would then suddenly try to be closed for certain people. And when I think of it, I think sometimes it's only because there's only one light that they want you to have. But with your mindset being strong in what your goal is and sticking to what your targets are, these challenges will be in the way all the time, but they can be overcome. So, although I talked about yesterday the young child that passed away, and he had a football career possible, he could have been a chef. He was also a rapper here now. So, although this young boy had so much talent, who was telling him to actually use his talent and actually helping him with this talent at the time? And who was actually, where they are now talking about gangs, pushing him more towards the gangs because those other opportunities weren't actually open to him? So that's how I actually saw my life over the last 4 or 5 years in some ways. I felt like, although I've been trying to keep on my path and keep the mindset strong for what my goal and target is for me and my family, I can see there's a lot of other people with mindsets that they'd rather portray me with a negative mindset and make it more to push you back to the other way. So today is about staying strong. Today is about showing you the mindset of what you can do when you stay strong and don't be, what's the word, led into ways that the other person wants you to be doing. And that's even with me. So we'll take that into the deen as well. For example, with regards to the deen, we understand anytime you are told something with regards Islam or anything in life, you should only agree with that with witnesses. There needs to be witnesses to actually see this event or see that this has happened or heard that this has happened. And then they also need to have witnesses for them to say they were there. So if you can't have, I think I lost my trail of thought there. I feel like I lost the trail of thought. I think the point I was trying to make at the end there was stick to your faith in yourself and trust your heart and your mind and know what you can do. And if there are doors that are closed, continue with your same heart and path and you will get where you need to be. And you do that with strong willpower and having a strong mindset and understanding where and where not to put yourself. And I will end today with that video because this was just a quick one. I feel like I never explained too much of my mindset and the changes I actually have made, other than the story of coming out, shared house, moving to London, and now actually living in Wiltshire. But I hope you kind of get an understanding of the mindset that everybody needs to have and needs to stay aware of when we are in day-to-day life. Because also I like to believe the mindset of me being able to change has also helped the kids in my home to understand that is not the path they go. And although I have been down the wrong path, I can change that, and so they don't need to go there. So that's hopefully helpful for them in the long run, as it has been for me. So yeah, thank you, and I hope you enjoyed this today. Sorry if I rambled.